I'm going to show you how to price out your grey root coverage with a Blowdry. One of the biggest mistakes people make, or one of the most confusing parts of pricing for root covers and blow dries, is a lot of people always say to me, do you price for the processing time? And my answer is yes, and I have always priced for the processing time. And this is the reason why. Although our profit is there to cover quiet months, all number of different things, I talk about profit quite a lot across all my social media pages and what profit is there for. But ultimately, if there is a client sat in your chair and there's half an hour and they're not getting charged for that half an hour while they're in that chair, who's paying the wages for that half an hour? Who's covering the overhead costs for that half an hour? That is not a way to run the business. You could argue that, well, yeah, the profit will cover that, but the profit shouldn't be covering the processing time. The client needs to be covering the processing time. If I had to compare this to another industry, this would be like paying a wedding photographer to come and take the photographs, but then he's editing them for free. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. And so it's the same when it comes to hairdressing. They need to pay for the processing time. Because if you are a stylist that does work back to back and maybe you do have another client in that space, that's great. However, what about the slow times or the times that you haven't got someone booked in that space? That means you're now going to be running at a loss. So we always want to be priced for basically the worst case scenario. So this is how we're going to price it. And this is one of the most undercharged prices that we have in the salon. So for a root colour and a blow dry, it's going to take you about half an hour to add that root colour on, and then about 45 minutes to process that up, and then about 15 minutes to wash off, and then half an hour to blow dry. So that's 35% of profit. We've got 3 disposable towels, 4 black gloves. Now I like the 4 black gloves is 2 pairs. There's a pair to put on and a pair to wash off. With my root colours, I work on the basis that people are mostly coming in every 4 weeks. And on average, I'm mixing up about 50 grams of colour. With Ref, that looks like 50 grams of permanent colour, 75 grams of peroxide. You can add extra for it if you want to add a gloss in. I'm not going to on this occasion. We're going to hit calculate. Product cost again is like £5.20 for that, literally nothing. But the total price for that comes in at £126.78, which I think will shock a lot of people. Typically, the root cover and blow dry is such a basic standard service. People are coming in every 4 weeks. And as stylists, we can get really hung up on the fact that someone's having to pay £126 every 4 weeks. But at the end of the day, that's just their problem to deal with. That's their budget to find if they want a good hairdresser that's going to give them a good service. If you weren't going to charge for all of that, if you're looking at the price and you're like, you know what, I just don't want to charge that much, I'm going to tell you now how much that's going to look like if we remove the processing time. It's still going to take it to £96.85. So either way you look at it, they're having to pay about £100 a month to get their grey roots covered. The only difference to you is, do you want to run at a profit or do you want to run at a loss, just to make that a little bit more comfortable to a client? Choice is yours. But my advice would always be to charge for the processing time to make sure you are not running at a loss. So head to the App Store or the Google Play Store and go and download the Freelance Suite pricing app so that you can make sure that you are pricing profitably and accurately every single time for every single client.